Jacob, the son of Isaac, the grandson of Abraham, lived in Egypt for 17 years with all his children and descendants. But now, the time had come for him to pass from this world, leaving behind a legacy steeped in faith and promise. Behold, I die, but the God of your ancestors will visit you and bring you back to the land which the Lord swore to give you, and to your children after you. When I am gone, bury me in the cave of Machpelah in Hebron, near my ancestors. It is there that I wish to rest in peace. With heavy hearts, Jacob's sons lifted his body and began the long journey to Canaan. The desert winds howled, mourning the loss of a great man. Camels and caravans followed behind as a grand funeral procession made its way to the land of their ancestors. But far away, atop the rugged cliffs of Mount Seir, another man received the news. Esau, the brother of Jacob, the son of Isaac, heard of his brother's passing. Though years had passed, the fire of resentment still burned within him. Jacob's sons arrived at the cave of Machpelah. Here, their father would rest, as he had wished. But before they could begin the burial, a storm approached. Esau and his men descended from the mountains like a dark shadow upon the land. Esau stepped forward, eyes blazing with fury. "This land belongs to me," he roared. "This cave is mine." But Joseph, Jacob's son, stood tall and unshaken. "No, Esau. Our father purchased this land with silver. We have the records to prove it." But Esau would not listen. His anger boiled over, and his warriors gripped their weapons. The air was thick with the scent of war. Joseph turned to his swift-footed brother Naphtali. "Ride to Egypt! Bring the records!" And like a bolt of lightning, Naphtali sped away, his horse kicking up dust as he raced across the desert. But Esau had no patience for records. He raised his sword, signaling his men. "Enough! We take the cave, by force." And with a battle cry that shook the earth, the sons of Esau charged forward. The battle raged, fierce and unrelenting. The sons of Jacob, led by Joseph and his brothers, struck down Esau's men one by one. But amidst the bloodshed, a quiet figure stood apart, Chushim, the son of Dan. Chushim, a young man with a serious expression. He is deaf and mute, but his senses are sharp. He stands near Jacob's coffin, looking off toward the commotion, sensing the brewing conflict. Chushim, thinking silently to himself, "Something's wrong. Why isn't the burial happening?" Chushim asked the men nearby, motioning to the battle. The man replied, "Esau and his sons are causing trouble. They claim the cave belongs to them." Chushim's eyes narrow in determination. He turns and rushes toward the battlefield, drawing his sword with skill. Chushim may not have spoken, but he was no stranger to battle. With a heart full of resolve, he charged into the fray. Chushim moves through the chaos with deadly precision, knocking aside enemies and making his way toward Esau. Esau was in the middle of the fight, his face twisted in rage. Esau, in the thick of battle, never saw it coming. But Chushim, in a flash of brilliance, raised his sword high. And with one swift strike, he severed Esau's head from his body. Esau's head flew through the air, and his body fell lifeless to the ground. The battle came to a sudden halt. Victory was won, not by numbers, but by one swift act of justice. The sons of Jacob stand victorious, and the battlefield grows eerily quiet. With Esau slain, his followers fled in terror, carrying his lifeless body with them. The battlefield, once roaring with fury, now lay silent, the dust settling on the defeated sons of Esau. But for Jacob's sons, there was still one duty left to fulfill. With reverence and sorrow, they carried their father's body into the cave of Machpelah, and there, beside Abraham and Isaac, Jacob was finally laid to rest. For 7 days, the sons of Jacob remained by the cave, mourning their father. They sat in silence, heads bowed, as the winds whispered through the hills of Hebron. Stories of Jacob's faith and wisdom were shared, laughter and tears interwoven as they honored the great man who had fathered a nation. But grief soon gave way to the reality of war. The sons of Esau, humiliated and vengeful, gathered their forces once more. Though their leader had fallen, their hatred burned ever stronger. Jacob's sons, warriors in their own right, prepared for battle. This conflict, one that had begun long ago in their father's youth, was far from over. As Jacob's sons struck down their enemies, one among Esau's line saw the battle turning. Eliphaz, the son of Esau, realized that his people were no match for the warriors of Jacob. With no choice but to flee, he gathered his remaining men, carrying his father's body with him. They retreated into the mountains, vowing that one day they would return. But the sons of Jacob were relentless. They would not allow Esau's descendants to escape unpunished. With unwavering resolve, Joseph and his brothers surged forward, pursuing the retreating forces with the determination to end this threat once and for all. The chase stretched across the unforgiving wilderness, leading them to the rugged borders of Seir. Here, the land itself seemed to shield the fleeing warriors, its towering cliffs and narrow passages offering them refuge. But there would be no sanctuary. Not yet. For at the edge of Seir, a final standoff loomed, a battle that would determine the fate of both bloodlines. In the chaos, Jacob's sons captured Zepho, Esau's grandson, along with 50 of his finest warriors. Bound and broken, they were taken as prisoners of war. But not all of Esau's line had fallen. Eliphaz, Esau's son, and Zepho's father, saw his kin defeated and his people overwhelmed. Fear gripped him as he realized the battle was lost. Panic overtook him as he gathered the last of his men and, with no choice but to flee, carried his father's lifeless body with him into the shadows of Seir. This battle, though decisive, was merely the first of many. The hatred between the descendants of Jacob and Esau would not end here. It would smolder through generations, igniting countless wars, shaping nations, and forging destinies. The sons of Esau swore vengeance, rallying new allies, strengthening their armies, and so began an age of bloodshed, a struggle that would rage for centuries. And even now, in the world of today, the echoes of this ancient war can still be felt. The battles may have changed, but the struggle endures. Yet in every conflict, there lies a choice to continue the cycle of war or to seek peace. Wars would be waged, nations would rise and fall, but one thing remained certain. The descendants of Jacob and Esau would be forever at odds, and that struggle continues even to this day. The story of Jacob and Esau is not just one of sibling rivalry and war. It is one of legacy, a story of nations, of power, of choice, and of a people. And so, we ask, what will be our choice? Will we continue the struggle or forge a new path? Join us on this journey through history, for this is only the beginning.